Welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news show brave enough to cover yet another Ubisoft flop.
It's been a really rough year for Ubisoft, hasn't it? Star Wars didn't sell, Prince of Persia didn't sell, Assassin's Creed got delayed, and now XDefiant is shutting down. Boy, life's really rough for those multinational gaming megacorps, isn't it?
Yeah, well, at least one of them caught a break. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle's getting great reviews. So we'll have to wait and see how it does commercially, but otherwise, people really like the game.
Yeah, and that's great. Indie needed a little boost, I guess. Unfortunately, though, we have some more commercial stumbles to round out this week's Inside Games Roundup. Friday the 13th, developer IllFonic laid off some staff this week, and active development on Mortal Kombat 1 content is rumored to completely stop soon due to low sales.
All right, let's bite into the news by throwing to someone who never stopped due to low sales, Brian Gaar. Tell us about the tragic end of XDefiant, Brian.
That's right. As a Dragon Quest fan, low sales have never dissuaded me. So, this whole roundup is going to be mostly a bummer. So let's get started. Bad news coming out of Ubisoft. It's shutting down XDefiant. It's free-to-play shooter. Servers are closing June 3rd. And very sadly, it's going to result in a lot of layoffs. Nearly 300 folks. It looks like 143 in San Francisco and another 134 across their Osaka and Sydney, Australia locations. The rest of the staff not affected are going to transition to other roles at Ubisoft. That comes from Chief Studios Officer Marie-Sophie de Walbert.
Marie-Sophie de Walbert provided a bit of commentary on this. Quote, despite an encouraging start, the team's passionate work, and a committed fan base, we've not been able to attract and retain enough players in the long run to compete at the level we aim for in the very demanding free-to-play FPS market. As a result, the game is too far away from reaching the results required to enable further significant investment, and we are announcing that we will be sunsetting it.
Ubisoft will close its San Francisco and Osaka studios entirely. A skeleton crew will maintain XDefiant until its closure, according to Insider Gaming. Players who bought the $69.99 Ultimate Founders Pack will receive refunds automatically within 8 weeks, which is kind of cool, actually. But those Founders Pack items are excluded.
Yeah, XDefiant came out in May. It hit 1 million players within hours. That's really good, but ultimately failed to meet expectations, which is bad. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot noted in September that the game underperformed. Executive producer Mark Rubin attributed the declining numbers to, quote, very little marketing. Ouch. Despite claims in October that there were no plans to close the game, obviously they did.
Yeah, this is just the latest in a series of very big cuts by Ubisoft, which has reduced staff by 2,000 over the past 2 years. Of course, citing cost-cutting efforts along the way. Despite XDefiant's failure, de Walbert reaffirmed Ubisoft's commitment to games as a service, citing successes like Rainbow Six and For Honor. Yeah, I know, of course, nobody's rooting for people to lose their jobs, but I know that there's a lot of people out there in the gaming audience that are very exhausted by big companies relentlessly pursuing games as service. I think we'd all like to see these events maybe warn them away from that strategy, but no, all we've ever seen out of anyone that has a whiff like Sony is that, no, we're still doing it. It makes too much money. We're going to keep trying, so.
I know they were working hard on XDefiant, but I never liked this game. I remember trying it initially. This is like Concord for me, where I was immediately like, no. And I was surprised they were doing it, and then they continued doing it. And I thought when they had that big launch, I was like, oh, this is it for XDefiant. Great, like, it'll go on forever. People will keep their jobs, and this just wasn't my thing. And I guess it wasn't other people's thing either. There's a rumor going around that there's going to be a 10-cent buyout of Ubisoft. I believe it's a 10-cent buyout. So that might happen because Ubisoft had a very, very, very rough year.
Yeah, they seem ripe for it, honestly. I don't know, it all feels like the big MMORPG rush after World of Warcraft. It's like you had a big hit, and then everybody else jumped in with much crappier products, and then this is the result.
Yeah, the economy of a games as service game now is getting absurd. The competition's so high, you're dealing with competitors that have been in the market for a decade plus and have been making content that whole time. It seems insurmountable, but the money is such an incredible draw that they're just going to keep trying.
Oh, the money. Let's move on to something that is actually, I think, possibly making money. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It releases next week and reviews are already out. People are playing it in early access as well. Critics are giving the adventure game from developer Machine Games and Bethesda good scores, with the PC version getting an 87 on Metacritic.
Yeah, a good single-player game. How about that? Eurogamer wrote, smart, fun, and so very Indiana Jones. The Great Circle is a stealth action tour de force that marks a bold new era for Machine Games.
Tour de force. Is it an action-packed thrill ride? Is it an edge of your seat? I don't know. I love it when games reviewers use like cinematic, hackneyed phrases to describe games. But it's a movie game, so it works. IGN also reviewed it, calling it an irresistible and immersive global treasure hunt and far and away the best indie story this century. They added Indiana Jones and the Great Circle doesn't belong in a museum. Oh boy. I can hear the whip cracks already. It belongs on your hard drive where you can play the heck out of it. Are you guys ready for some heck in Indiana Jones?
There's a lot of heck, let me tell you. In its review, PC Mag said the game, quote, has the presentation and adventure chops to charm newcomers and nostalgists alike, but a handful of safe and stale gameplay elements keep it from excellence.
Ooh, PC Mag burn. The game is out Monday for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S.
It is worth your time, guys. You should definitely try and play it. I played the first three hours of it yesterday and really enjoyed my time. So
I'm ready to be charmed by a game again. They've been taking themselves so seriously. I just want a big, goofy adventure with whip cracks and snakes and maybe a slide and a jump and a windmill fall that grab onto something. Yeah.
You're going to get all that. Yeah.
All right, now here's another bummer story. We've had one good story, so that's too much. So let's get back to another bummer. In the layoff hell news cycle we find ourselves in, Illphonic, the developer of Friday the 13th, the game, and Predator Hunting Grounds, has announced, you guessed it, layoffs as part of a, you guessed it, refined strategy.
Yeah, Illphonic CEO and co-founder Charles Brungart confirmed the job cuts, writing on LinkedIn, today we had to accept the harsh reality that the state of the industry has impacted us here at Illphonic. It is with the heaviest of hearts that cuts to our teams had to be made today as we realigned to a refined strategy. There's a lot of talent in the group, he added, and if you or your team is hiring, please reach out so people can be connected to open roles.
Illphonic, which has studios in Colorado and Washington, is known for Friday the 13th, the game, which was pulled from sale last December after its licensing rights expired.
Meanwhile, last year, the studio released Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. Oh, I remember that movie. But it has struggled to retain players. Illphonic has not disclosed how many employees they laid off, but they're part of a larger trend of brutal job losses throughout the industry. Y'all, we've reported on this a lot. Eurogamer says that 14,000 game industry jobs have been lost so far this year, and in 2023 there were 10,500 job cuts. So yeah, it's just been, it sucked, it's continuing to suck, and hopefully it slows down.
Actually, all three of us personally know a bunch of people at Illphonic, so this is a real bummer for all of us because we know some people, and I have to reach out and find out if hopefully everybody's okay over there. Yeah, it's just a real bummer. This is a good studio. We worked with them for a very long time, and this one hits actually kind of close to home.
Yeah, and they were doing important work too. I'm a big fan of like kitschy campy games, and they were grabbing onto some really fun, like very goofy American franchises and turning them into games. You don't see a lot of that in gaming anymore. Everything's getting so global, so I really appreciated that. Very American culture. It sucks. There's not a lot of money flowing around out there. Speaking of, another deeply American game is also maybe a little on the rocks. We got some rumors that Mortal Kombat 1 DLC won't be in development anymore. It had some in development apparently, but that's all been canceled. This news comes from Insider Gaming, which found a post from the well-known Mortal Kombat leaker Fate Unknown, who claimed that the future DLC for Mortal Kombat 1 had been canceled due to disappointing expansion sales.
Yeah, there are still characters from the current DLC pack, Combat Pack 2, that will be released. They're still coming, including Conan the Barbarian and T-1000 from Terminator 2. But after that, it looks like it's done, and players won't be getting anything future from DLC packs.
Another Mortal Kombat leaker at the Tiny wrote on X that they heard from another insider that there's no more content after Terminator, adding, quote, I have officially no hope left.
They're gonna make another one. They're just not making DLC. That's a shame. Chaos Rising was actually really good DLC. Very well produced. It had a lot of cool modes in it. It had like a level system where you play through various like stages with modifiers on them. I don't know. they did a lot of good work with that, and it's a shame that it didn't really hit with people.
All right, let's do a 5-second review. Path of Exile 2, y'all were just talking about it. It's out, early access out. It'll probably be out when you watch this. I love the first one. It's, if I can describe it, it's like Diablo, but for absolute psychos. That's, yes. Look at the skill tree. That tells you all you need to know.
All right, let's move on to the video games that are coming out this week. I mean, they're early access, but Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is officially out. Uncover one of history's greatest mysteries in a first-person single-player adventure. The year is 1937. Sinister forces are scouring the globe for the secret to an ancient power connected to the Great Circle, and only one person can stop them: Indiana Jones. It comes to PC and Xbox Series X December 9th.
And speaking of retreading the past, we've got Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. Experience the epic conflict of Kain and Raziel in original form or with remastered graphics. This bundle comes to PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, and Xbox Series on December 10th.
All right, but let's talk about a brand new IP that's tearing up the universe. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Rita's Rewind. The team faces off against a robotic reincarnation of the Power Rangers' long-time nemesis, Robo Rita. Has conjured a portal to send herself back in time so she can finally vanquish the Power Rangers by forming an alliance with her younger self. It comes to PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S December 10th.
You know, money is clearly very, very tight out there. We've seen over the last couple of years, which is why we are extra appreciative of the patrons that support Inside Games on Patreon. So thank you very, very much. Here's some patrons that tried their hardest and bought every piece of Mortal Kombat DLC they could before they canceled it. Red End 003, Rook, Ray Pichardo, Lenny Neves, Aaron Fraze, Brown Sugar, Dougal Tupo, and Brandon Popovich.
I've got some patrons to thank too, and this is extra tragic because all of these patrons are actually slated to become DLC characters in Mortal Kombat before that rug got pulled, so we tried our hardest, but Brian Daraberry, Jose Diaz, Buck, Jarrett Watkins, Ian McGee, Old Baby Leg, DJ Kento, and Shaky Pants. I would have loved to see those fatalities. Another timeline.